Welcome, listener. Today we're embarking on a really captivating deep dive. We're looking at global shipbuilding. It's a sector it's fast becoming a true geopolitical hot potato. We've gathered a stack of sources, and our mission really is to pull out the key nuggets, to show how the main players are, deliberately shifting their output, their market share. And this isn't just about like factories and steel, it's much bigger.
Oh, absolutely. It's about national power, its strategic advantage, and, well, the whole complicated web of global trade.
Yeah.
And what's really fascinating, I think, is how these shifts aren't just market forces playing out predictably. It feels much more like calculated geopolitical moves.
Okay, so what's the big driver right now? What are our sources pointing to? The first thing that really jumps out is the striking shift. China's dominance in new ship orders seems to be diminishing.
Yeah. Diminishing is a good word. And what's fascinating is the direct cause seems pretty clear. New U.S. Trade Representative port fees, the USTR. And these aren't small tweaks. They specifically target Chinese-built and Chinese-operated vessels. There's this phased tariff plan. So fees for ships built in China go from, $18 a ton this year up to $33 a ton by 2028. And there are also container levies hitting $250 per container, plus a $50 per ton charge on Chinese operators right from the start, October 2025.
Wow. Okay, so that's quite aggressive. And the immediate impact. Have these fees actually, bitten?
Oh, yeah. The sources show it's been profound. China's share of new building contracts and new ship deals, basically, it dropped significantly from a high of, depending on the source, 72% or even 75%.
75%.
Right, down to around 52%, maybe 56% in just the first half of 2025.
That is a massive rebalancing. I mean, in just 6 months.
Exactly. But here's where it gets complicated. It raises this important question. While the U.S. policy is clearly aiming to counter China's dominance, their own efforts to, revitalize American shipbuilding, well, paradoxically, they seem to be struggling.
Struggling how?
The ambition we saw, particularly from the Trump administration, it seems to be wavering a bit. Key people are leaving, like the maritime advisor Ian Bennett, and others from the National Security Council's Maritime Office. We're talking, 5 out of 7 staffers gone? That's significant.
So a disconnect between the policy goals and actually building up the domestic industry needed to, compete.
Precisely. It highlights just how hard it is to rebuild that kind of complex industrial base.
Okay, so China's facing pressure. The U.S. is having its own issues. Who's benefiting? South Korea seems to be making some moves.
Some remarkable moves, yeah. Their share of global new orders jumped from about 14% up to 30%.
30%. In the same period, first half of 2025.
That's right. They even overtook China in crude tanker orders this year, which is a big deal.
But wait, the sources also say their shipyards at home are full, completely maxed out.
They are, operating at full capacity. They've got a backlog of 451 vessels. That's nearly 3 years of work lined up.
So that sounds like a bottleneck, right? A constraint. Yet you said it's driving their global expansion. How does that work?
Well, that's the strategic part of it, isn't it? Because they can't build more ships at home right now. They're forced to look outwards. It pushes them to expand their operational footprint globally, securing future growth, and, maybe more importantly, getting ahead of competitors in new markets. It's kind of turning a problem into, an opportunity for greater influence.
Right, like this move into Morocco. HD Hyundai looking at the Casablanca shipyard.
Exactly. That's a huge play. Seeking 30-year operating rights for what will be Africa's largest shipyard, 210,000 square meters. Massive. And it fits their wider strategy. They're trying to replicate successes they've had in places like Vietnam and the Philippines. Plus, it helps deepen ties with India, the U.S., and Morocco itself wants to grow its own fleet significantly by 2040, so it aligns well.
And they're making moves internally, too. This HSG Sungdong example.
Yeah, that's another interesting angle. HSG Sungdong used to be a top 10 builder, then faded. Now they're back, tying up with Samsung Heavy Industries to subcontract whole vessels, like a big Suezmax crude tanker.
The Suezmax. Okay. One of those huge ones.
Right, vital for oil trade. And HSG Sungdong is also diversifying, getting into offshore wind projects for Africa and Taiwan. Shows real flexibility.
Okay, stepping back a bit, we see China pressured, South Korea expanding strategically, the U.S. struggling domestically. What does this all mean for the bigger picture? Is it just power shifting from China to South Korea?
Not really. It's not that simple. Not a zero-sum game. While the shifts are definitely significant, you have to remember that Korean yards, and Japanese ones too, face their own big challenges. Things like aging workforces, serious labor shortages, rising wages. These are structural problems. They put a real limit on how much market share can realistically shift away from China. even with all this geopolitical pressure.
So there are limits to this rebalancing.
Absolutely. And actually, overall, global new ship contracting fell dramatically 54% year on year in the first half of 2025.
54% down, wow.
Yeah. So China still remains the dominant builder in most ship types. Europe keeps its hold on specialized things like cruise ships. It's a fragmented picture.
What a complex picture indeed. It really is this interconnected dance of geopolitics and economics, isn't it? Global shipbuilding clearly mirrors these broader international forces, shows how fast supply chains can react when politics and economics push together.
Definitely. And the ripple effects go way beyond just the shipyards themselves. We're talking impacts on global supply chains, on national influence, maybe even on which trade routes become more or less important.
So here's something for you, the listener, to mull over. How might these shifting shipyard dynamics redefine who holds the keys to maritime power in the next decade? And maybe think about what other big foundational industries might start feeling similar geopolitical pressures to rebalance soon.